As it's nearly Christmas, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy Christmas and a peaceful new year. 800 years before the birth of Jesus, the prophet Isaiah said these words, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel, God with us." Well, we know the virgin was Mary, although her Hebrew name was Miriam. And there were lots of Miriams born around the time of the birth of Jesus. And it's strange, really, because Miriam means bitter. Maybe the fathers were remembering the 40 years of bitter wandering in the desert, and they were now seeing that it was 400 years since God had actually spoken to his people. Or maybe fathers just wanted their daughters to be like the great prophetess Miriam, the sister of Moses. So what was her childhood like? Well, we can glean a little bit by looking between the lines and seeing the character of Mary herself. She must have had amazing parents who discipled her according to the words that Moses had spoken in Deuteronomy 6. This is what he'd said. "These commandments I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up." And it's quite obvious that Mary's parents must have done that. They gave her to the Lord as a baby, but she would have been taught all about the law and about God's eternal purpose, about his covenant commitment to his people, and that God was going to send a redeemer or a saviour. Girls at that time were usually betrothed as they entered womanhood, round about the age of 14, when they could actually have children themselves. And so Mary's parents would have put a lot of thought and prayer into a suitable husband for her. And I suspect that's why Joseph was a bit older, because Mary was an extraordinary young woman and needed the wisdom of an older man. When Mary hears from the angel that she's to give birth to the Messiah, she almost immediately goes to her cousin Elizabeth, because she's been told that Elizabeth is also miraculously pregnant. And you know the story that as soon as they entered the house, Elizabeth's baby, who was the unborn John the Baptist, leapt in her womb. And Elizabeth said to Mary, "I know that you're carrying the Saviour." So if she didn't know before, Mary certainly knew by then that she was pregnant. And she pours out a beautiful song, which is pretty much based on Hannah's song when she was thrilled to have her child Samuel. So my soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour, for he has been mindful of the humble state of his servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me. Holy is his name. And to skip on a few verses, Mary then goes on to declare that God keeps his covenant promises for his people. His mercy, that is covenant love, extends to those who fear him from generation to generation. And she concludes by saying, "He has helped his servant Israel, remembering to be merciful to Abraham and his descendants forever, just as he promised our ancestors." And another way of saying that would be to say, he has helped his servant Israel. Now he is acting on their behalf to show his covenant commitment that he made with Abraham and his descendants forever, just as he promised to our ancestors. Mary's parents taught her to hear and obey the Lord, but they also taught her the bigger picture. Now, all of us in different ways had children entrusted to us, either as parents, grandparents, teachers, or within the church. But there are children, and they're very, very precious. And my prayer would be, may we know how to prepare them to be ready to respond to God's call on their lives, that he keeps his promises and that he is coming back for his bride. Thank you.